Now, when it comes to models of disability, there are two that you need to consider across all your procedures and practices. Each in itself allows inclusion, but this all depends entirely upon your approach and inclusive practices and anything you've done, as I say, to date. Now, the medical model of disability, the other being the social model, under the medical model, a person is disabled by their condition and needs a reactive, reasonable adjustment. The social model is where a person is not particularly disabled by their condition, but rather by practices and procedures that are not inclusive. Okay, the medical model of disability in detail, a little bit more detail. This model makes a neurodivergent condition an impairment, and so encourages treatment to make the diagnosed more normal. Although, to be fair, there's no such thing as normal, we're all different. Within this model, therefore, it's the individual rather than society that is encouraged to change. And the focus is actually upon the person and what is wrong with that individual, as opposed to what their talents are. And because of their differences compared with colleagues and wider population, there's always sometimes a bit of question over disclosure. Now, the focus here is always on the condition rather than the person. And under this model, it's highly likely that the employer will make reactive adjustments, with the result being exclusion continuing in other ways. So, moving on to the social model of disability. This was introduced a couple of years ago by the United Nations, and this model is core to the UN's rights of persons with disabilities. Under this particular model, the focus here is that a person is in fact disabled not by the condition, but by the practices that are inappropriate and attitudes also that need to be addressed, and also the environment that needs to be adjusted. Where a diagnosed person is unable to partake in society, these are caused by non-inclusive practices, such as, for example, excessive noise. Now, this approach, the social model of disability, focuses on proactively identifying such barriers to work and encourages an environment by creating such an environment which is more inclusive. And it's known as inclusive by design. Now, when you quickly compare the two models, there's a lot of people who philosophize over this, and there's books and lengthy videos about this. But for many years, the medical model of disability has been employed, but that puts a responsibility on the individual who has been diagnosed to treat or cure that condition, which can't always be done. And it actually absolves society, including employers and colleges and recruiters and service providers, from actually taking positive action. It is in recent years that many organisations now, everyone is becoming more and more aware, and the social model is the model that's becoming used and adopted. Because the social model states that the person is disabled not by their condition, but through organisations, processes, policies, and how society is organised. So therefore the onus is on such organisations to ensure inclusivity.